Hello everybody and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Music Weekly, the show where I give you guys the top 5 prog news headlines for the week, introduce you guys to some new prog singles, and give you updates on what's happening on the channel here on Nathan on Shuffle. It's April 12th, 2024, and I've got a pretty big group of news items for you guys today. I'm pretty excited to dive into it. Hopefully you guys appreciate what I've got on offer here today. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I always urge you all to subscribe. It really helps the channel. And I just am thankful for all your support out there, for the comments, for the likes, for just watching these videos in general is just really helpful and means a lot to me. So today, the first prog news headline, I like to talk about the latest releases in the genre, and we've got a couple of really cool albums that I wanted to mention. Trifecta released their album The New Normal today. This is a supergroup of sorts, 3 really notable figures in the prog space. Nick Beggs on bass, and his former Steven Wilson bandmates Craig Blundell on drums and Adam Holzman on keyboards. So bit of a trio here doing some cool, interesting, jazzier prog stuff that I think many of you would like. So I haven't really delved too deep into this one yet, but have it on my to-do list, so I'm excited to dive into it. 2 albums that I have listened to that I absolutely adore are Sinister's new album, Mostly Great Things. This is a Canadian rock band with little progressive touches. This album is like full-blown, just fun, classic rock music that I just adore. I'm going to talk about it more in depth this week in a review, but I recommend it highly. I think this is a fantastic release, and every song is just really catchy and fun and enjoyable. So, and another great release that I plan to talk about this week is Sleepmakeswaves and their album It's Here But I Have No Names For It. A fantastic post-rock album with tons of other elements at play, mostly instrumental, just wonderful music, very soothing, very relaxing, but at the same time very punchy and hard rock aesthetic at times, and it's just a really cool cornucopia of different sounds and styles, and it's just a brilliant record, expertly played and sounds pristine. So can't wait to talk more in depth about those albums, but just to mention them here as new releases that I think may be of interest to those viewers of this channel. And let me know in the comments any other big releases that didn't make my list. I'm sure there's many others that many of you will mention, and I'd be happy to check any of them out. So thank you guys. And let's move on to item number 2. I mentioned Dream Theater briefly in the last New Music Weekly, but they have even bigger news this week. Dream Theater announced their 40th anniversary tour for 2024 to 2025, kicking off in Europe in October. This is exciting because, of course, this marks the return to the stage of Mike Portnoy with the group. He hasn't played live with them for quite a while, and everyone's been hotly anticipating his return to the band and what he could do with them. So it's really exciting to see them be going out on the live stage, celebrating their 40th anniversary, starting in Europe. In fact, their first show on October 20th is in London at the O2. So definitely going to be a historic, massive tour. I think people are already buying tickets, and the pre-sales are going really strong, and the band just seems super pumped and excited. And it makes me think that maybe this could give us a clue into the timeline of their new album also. I would guess that they'd want to finish their new album and have it ready to go in anticipation of this tour, so we might be able to expect like an October-ish release for their new album, but who knows? You know, there's a lot of stages left before they complete their album and the work on it, but just something I'm keeping my eye out on. I'm guessing this tour is going to be more about celebrating their back catalog, their 40 years of storied history together, so there probably won't be much in terms of the new album, newer music, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a new single or 2 make the cut in the set list. So we'll see how it all goes, but I'm excited as a massive Dream Theater fan for this tour. Of course, it's in Europe starting out, so I won't be able to see these first dates, but I'm sure the band will make their way over to my neck of the woods. It sounds like they're planning to hit all the major markets all across the world, and it's going to be a massive tour celebrating the return of Mike Portnoy to the group and the 40th anniversary. So big things to celebrate there. And then another big bit of news at number 3 here. Leprous announced their new studio album, Melodies of Atonement, and a USA and Canada headlining tour. So this is a Norwegian rock outfit, Leprous. They started very quirky, heavier prog metal stuff, but over the years have gotten a bit more laid back and cinematic in their approach, and still with elements of that heavier sound, and really adapting to an interesting mix of new things with a more melancholy vibe. But it sounds like, based on their description, that this new album may harken back to their heavier days. So they're really excited. They said the orchestral elements are gone, which gives more space for each individual band member to shine. It's straight to the point and heavier than what we've been in a while. It's a new sound, but it's still Leprous. So sounds like the album is coming out sometime in August. They haven't set an official date as of yet. I'm sure there's more details coming about this announcement. But I'm excited about it. I've been listening to older Leprous music this week in anticipation. Love the album Bilateral from their early career, and I just think there's a lot of promise for them. Of course, Einar Solberg did his solo album recently and did an acoustic rendition of one of the classic Leprous albums also. So he's been out there doing music, and a lot of people have argued that modern Leprous has kind of taken a turn to be more of like a solo project for Einar Solberg anyways, because it's lent itself more to his operatic style vocals and things. But it sounds like this may harken back to more of a full band project, maybe a bit heavier, more into that lane that they were known for before in their early days. But it also looks like they're doing a tour starting in September, which again gives kind of a little clue into when the release date for their album will be. Looks like they're going to be joined with their friends in Monuments and Fight the Fight, so a little split bill there, but of course Leprous is the headliner, and they're playing all throughout North America, and should be a fun time. Should be some cool shows to check out here if you're a fan of Leprous and their take on modern progressive metal and rock. Another big touring news, Deep Purple announces a North American tour that they'll be doing with Yes. This is a crazy double bill. Back in the 70s, imagining a Deep Purple and Yes ticket probably was like the stuff of dreams. But here we are with these two bands touring together throughout North America here once again, starting in Florida and moving all the way through more of like the East Coast side of the world, of the country, I should say, the east side of the U.S. So no dates yet close to where I'm at. I thought when I saw this news released, I'm like, oh, this could be the perfect concert to take my dad to, in fact. But no dates as of yet in my neck of the woods, but still really cool news to see that these two legendary rock bands from the 70s, Deep Purple probably leaning more into the heavier rock side of the equation, and Yes, of course, leaning into the prog rock side of the equation, coming together, playing some great music. It's going to be a fun time, I'm sure. Deep Purple, I've heard, has been really remarkable live, and people have been really excited about what they've put together lately. So that should be something to behold, and to have Yes join them together should be a cool double bill. So I'm excited for how that goes and to see, how they perform well together. And then item number 5, Jethro Tull announces a big 6-disc Bursting Out release, the Inflated edition. This is the classic 1978 live album, but done in a new version with extra materials and all the kind of bells and whistles that are known in these more deluxe editions that Jethro Tull puts out. So this is the kind of their ongoing box set reissues that they've been doing, and everybody really raves about the packaging and about all of the extras and things. You get a big booklet and all this information, and this is a notable live release from them from their classic 70s era, so I'm sure many people will be excited about it. It's a 6-disc set comprising of 3 CDs and 3 DVDs. The package includes a Steven Wilson stereo remix of the album, soundcheck recordings, and edited version of the 1978 Madison Square Garden show, which was issued in 2009 and now mixed by Wilson. The album in 5.1 surround sound, the full 93-minute Madison Square Garden show, including 50-plus minutes of video, which was part of a transatlantic broadcast with the BBC and Radio 1, with audio in 48/24 stereo and 5.1 surround. Just a big live extravaganza of Jethro Tull music. If you're a fan of the band, seems like a must-own package here with tons of live material, both on DVD and on CD and mixed by Steven Wilson and all of these cool bits. They're playing all their classics. There's so many things from all of their classic 70s albums on this set. So just something to check out if you're a big Jethro Tull fan. Definitely a worthy release. And the date for that is June 21st. That's when it's going to be released on Rhino Records. So definitely something to keep your eye out on. And a couple of quick hits. I saw Devin Townsend is reissuing his album Terria on vinyl. This is set for release on June 14th, so you can check that out. It includes the bonus track Universal on vinyl for the very first time. And the gatefold vinyl edition also features an 8-page LP booklet, including new liner notes and archive photo material. So definitely pre-order that one. Available on black vinyl as well as 2 different colored vinyl editions as well. And then a progressive metal band, Terria from Australia, is announcing their new album Eli, A Wonderful Fall from Grace, that's set for release on May 24th. This is a concept album that follows their trilogy that started with Her Halo in 2015 and continued with 2021's Sorella Minore. So this is the 3rd album of that set. They're a band that's slowly rising in my estimation. They release a ton of material, but they're really talented and great, just melodic progressive metal music that I think a lot of my fans will enjoy. So definitely want to point that out. And then we have quite a cool prog singles list also. First off on the list is The Tangents, the single, appropriately titled as their next single from their upcoming album To Follow Polaris, coming out May 10th. This is an album that's interesting because it was really all done by Andy Tillison. It's almost a solo project, but he decided to brand it with the Tangent name because the sound and style still fits into the Tangent aesthetic. But it isn't saying that this is what the band's going to be moving forward. The other band members are definitely going to become more involved in the future on their next release, but this was just kind of an experiment that Andy Tillison felt compelled to do. And this release, this track called The Single, is a really great track, catchy and fun, but also with really cool prog flourishes. It's a great snapshot of the album and what you could expect to hear. It's really well done. The next track I have on the list is Airbag's Erase. So that's another big news item is Airbag, a Norwegian prog rock trio that many of you I'm sure are familiar with, are releasing their new studio album, The Century of the Self, through Charisma Records on June 14th. So they have their first single out called Erase. They call it one of the heaviest songs that they've ever written. And it's just a really beautiful track from them. I saw them on Cruise to the Edge, so I am interested in the band, and I think they're really talented, and this is right in line with what you'd expect from their sound. So definitely check out that. On the heavier end of the spectrum, we've got Evergrey's Falling from the Sun. This is a storied progressive metal band. This is like 30 years of history that they've had through the industry. They're releasing their new 14th studio album, Theories of Emptiness, on June 7th via Napalm Records. And this is just a really killer single that has a lot of energy, great hooks, really catchy and fun, but really retains that signature Evergrey style. Really fun. And then I mentioned Trifecta at the opening. They have a new album out, so I put a track from it on the list also, Once Around the Sun With You, that actually features Rush guitarist Alex Lifeson on the track as well. So that's one to enjoy. A really beautiful song. And then Richard Henshaw released a new track called Mew. Richard Henshaw, of course, is the guitarist of Haken, a multi-instrumentalist in his own right. He's brilliant. I love his previous solo release called Cocoon. This seems to be the start of a new release cycle. Looks like there's going to be a trio of EPs that he's going to release, and the first one, Mew Volume 1, will be out on June 7th. So this is the first taste of it. Very much instrumental, jazz fusion inspired. There's a lot of cool instrumental stuff going on in the makes. Of course, he's got some really great guitar lines and guitar playing throughout, but you've also got some really cool other instrumentalists playing some really creative drumming, some really cool elements. So definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of Richard Henshaw or just jazz fusion, and progressive metal in general, I think this is a worthy track to check out from this week. So that's what I've got for you on terms of the news items and the prog singles. As for the channel, I experimented with a new type of show this week. I did what I'm calling my quick picks, or just album recommendation, short 3-minute reviews where I basically recommend a new album to you guys. Just a little bit of a different flavor than my more long-form spotlights. So I did a review of Amscray and their album Die Happy, and also of Amarok and their album Hope. Two fantastic albums that I wanted to make sure to mention on the channel. Definitely worth checking out, so check out those shorter videos. Amarok is more of like the ambient, more lighter, atmospheric prog rock, more in line with Lunatic Soul and other Polish bands. And the other band, Amscray, is more like indie prog rock, more along the lines of the Deer Hunter, with a little bit of a punk kind of atmosphere and vibe. And I thought it was really excellent. A great new band that I just had never heard of before that I had discovered. So those are ones to check out, definitely. I'll have a couple more reviews. I'm not sure if they're going to be more short form or long form yet, but we'll kind of see what the format dictates. I also returned with Jana to Prog Song Sunday with Siberian Katru from Yes, which was a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll be back at it this upcoming Sunday as well. So a lot of fun stuff, a lot of great new releases coming out. I also want to shout out my Prog family group, my YouTube friends who I collaborate with often on videos. We did a quarter one of the year review also, where we talked about the best and worst, I guess, albums in prog for the first quarter of the year. So definitely check that one out. I'll link it as well. So a lot of fun stuff happening on the channel and beyond. Hopefully you guys are appreciating all the content and having fun yourselves. Let me know in the comments any other news items I may have missed, or any albums that you guys have been digging lately and want me to check out. I'd be much obliged to check out new music. So thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll hopefully catch you guys in a future episode. Bye, everybody.